morning, class. Thank you for being here again. In our last class, we treated sets, defined sets, we gave some examples, types of sets, and also solved some problem related to union and intersection of sets. Today we are going to be looking at Venn diagram. By definition, a Venn diagram is a diagram of oval shapes, something that is like the shape of an egg. That's what's called oval, representing the relationships between two or more sets, as you can see in the diagram below. All right, having defined what Venn diagram is, let's look at this diagram that we have on the board. You see that this is a diagram of three intersecting sets enclosed in a universal set, telling us that is represented here as epsilon or mu, Greek alphabet, telling us that they are not standing in isolation. Now we have these regions represented in this diagram explained here. Region 1 here is represented as A intersection B intersection C. That is elements common, that is supposed to be elements. Elements common to set A, B, and C. The same thing, region 2 here, talks about the elements that are common to only A and B, but not C. Then region 3 there, as you can see, this region 3 here is the intersection of elements that are in A and are also in C, but not in B. That's why we said elements common to A and C only. And the same similar explanation for region 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then let's come to this region marked VIII, that is region 8. This region, as you can see, is not part of any of these three oval shapes. So it's external, but is part of the rectangle, showing that though it's not in A, B, or C, it's part of the universal set. So what does that mean? It means that region 8 is representing elements that are not in A, that is A complement, and that is what intersection represents now, and not also in B and not in C. It can also be written as what you get when you combine all the elements that are in A, B, C together, but you have a section that is not inside that union. That gives us the complement of A union B union C. In other words, it talks about elements that are not in A, not in B or C, but in the what now? The universal set. Is that taken? All right. Now we take a typical example. As you can see here, this example says, example 1 now tells us that we have a particular class. And this class, in a class of 50 students, 42 do physics and 20 do government. If 2 students do neither of the 2 subjects, then how many do both subjects? It's very simple. This is telling us that you have 2 sets because 2 subjects are mentioned. So what do? You come here and say, okay, in your solution, you say let universal set, of course, is given to us there. So the number of that set is 50. That means there are 50 students. Now, A, in our case here, we are going to use P for physics. Let P equal to physics. Therefore, the number that do physics as given to us here is what now? 42. Good. Now we take the other one. Let G stand for government. So the number of students that do government, NG, will be 20. Now the question says, there are other 2 students that are not offering either of government or physics. So what does that mean? It means that number that are not doing physics, and not government is equal to what? 2. Then what are we expected to find? How many of these students do both subjects? Fine. So we say number that do physics and government is unknown. So we call it X. That's what we are going to be looking for. So let's draw the Venn diagram. We draw our rectangle and we say this is equal to 50. The universal set. We can represent it as epsilon or U, as you can see in this diagram. So when we have this, we draw the first set here. This is going to be physics, and then the second one will be government. So what does that tell us? This center that is common to physics and government is our what? That is going to be our intersection, the region that is described as both. So we put X here. Is that taken? Good. Now we now have to include the other information. We are told that there are 42 students that are offering physics. Now, but out of these 42, 2 are doing physics and government. So how many are doing only physics? That's this region here. The number that are doing only physics will be the number that do physics only, which is here, and then subtracted from the number that do physics, which is everything here, minus those that are doing both. So this will give us physics only, which is now going to be 42 minus this X. The same for government only. The number that do only government will be the number that do government, which is 20, as you can see there, minus the number that do both. So this is 20 minus X. Now, check. We have 2 here. This 2 tells us the number of students that are not offering physics and are not also offering government. But look at this Venn diagram. We can't see the 2 there. If you refer to what we did before, there is VIII here. That represents the number that are not doing any of these 3 subjects. Let's say A, B, C, representing Arabic, biology, and commerce, for example. So in our case, this 2 is going to be written outside that rectangle. So they will be outside. So what do we do after now? We now check. Since we are told that the number that are in the class are 50, it means if we add the number that are doing only physics, which is 42 minus X, plus the number that are doing both physics and government, plus physics and government, plus government only 20 minus S, then plus these 2, which do neither physics nor government, the total should give us what? 50, because that is the number of the class. So what do? We now say 42 minus X plus 20 minus X plus 2 should be equal to what? 50. So what do we do next? We simplify. Bring this to this, join this, and then we add up there. If you bring these 2 together, we have 62. Add this one to it, we have another 2. Look at this, minus X plus X, there, they will cancel out. That gives us 0. So that one is gone. We have added this, then we have this still remaining, minus X. So we have minus X, which is equal to what? 50. Collect your like terms. This is going to give me 64 minus x is equal to 50. Mind you, we are looking for x. So this 50 crosses over to this other side. We have 64 minus 50 is equal to, instead of having minus x now, we now have what? X. So what is 64 minus 50? Anybody there? Yes, we have 14. So it means our x is equal to 14. Telling us that there are 14 students in that class that are doing physics as well as government together. Any question? All right. So it's understood. I will send to you 2 questions. One is going to be a 2-set problem, and then the other third one is going to be a 3-set problem. But I will give you an example of the 3 sets, which will guide you to the solution of the 3 sets. And if you have any problem, you can let me know via the link, and we're going to handle it.